Good evening, everyone. I am Dani Nicole, and I am your host of the Book Talk Author Visibility podcast. And tonight's guest, we will be speaking to Trish Lacey. So I'm going to go ahead, turn it over to Trish. She's going to tell us who she is, where she's from, and the book she will talk about today.
Well, hi, Danny. Thanks for having me. Like you said, my name is Trish Lacey. I am from St. Louis, Missouri. First of all, I'm a mother. I am an HR professional. I'm an author and a newfound storyteller. I have discovered that I like to put truth to paper. And I'm here to talk about my newly published book, Erased in My Home. I'm available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and various different platforms, including Audible.
Great. So tell us a little bit about the book. Give us a background of a synopsis of the book.
Yes, so this is somewhat of a memoir. It is nonfiction. It's truly my story where I'm going to say trapped in a marriage for over 15 years to a malignant narcissist. And my thoughts and my voice became erased. I was constantly told that what I was thinking and feeling were not valid, they were not true, they were made up. Conversations that we had, that didn't happen. So I started to question my own reality in that scenario, and I just shrank, and it started to not only affect me at home, it affects you in the workplace as well. So that book is really just telling all about my journey through the manipulation, the gaslighting, the financial struggles that we went through, the ups and downs of being a step parent. There's so much that this book the topics that the book covers, all broken down into this book. And it's not really just focusing on the negativity, but it also helps people. It shows them and tells them how I was able to overcome all of those things with the help of coaching and with the help of therapy and the help of my family as well. I think it's a really dynamic book for people to read. If you're like me at one point or another, you felt like you had no way out and you're thinking you're crazy, you're not. This book will help you.
Great. So, what inspired you to write the book? Like, what really? Because I'm sure, like with me, being vulnerable and sharing your story, I'm sure it wasn't easy. So, what got you inspired to just go ahead and say, I got to tell my story?
Well, there's a couple of things, and I'm not gonna lie and say I just woke up one day, and I decided I'm just gonna write a book because that's not really what happened at all. For years, I've been, out of that situation for at least 6 years at this point. And ever so often, the topic of the demise of my marriage comes up. And the stories I would tell people are like, oh my gosh, I can never tell that you've gone through that. And the reason being is that and I truly am still a person who's very private. I never really talked about what was going on in my marriage. I smile all the time. And I felt like in order for me to be able to live my life fully, to move beyond the pain, to be a whole person, I really had to stop holding on to my abuser's secrets. And it inspired me in a way where I wanted to move beyond generational curses and show my daughter what courage looked like. I didn't want her to think that being silent about it or being in a marriage endurance meant strength. I wanted her to understand that having a voice is important. And I think for every tear that I've cried, if this book touches just one person, I think that the book has done its job.
And who would you say you're writing this book for? Who is your audience?
Oh my goodness. My audience is any woman who has ever felt so exhausted by a relationship, a person who has felt like they are not seen in their relationship or their home. They feel like they're dismissed. They have been going through or experienced what I consider narcissistic or emotional abuse. A person who feels diminished in their life or they're questioning their own reality. Like, are my memories and are my thoughts my own? I think this book is for them. And like I said, if you can take something away from any story that is in this book, whether you're going through a tumultuous relationship, maybe not even considered abuse, if you can see what courage looks like, what persistence looks like, what planning for your future looks like beyond the relationship and finding your voice and reclaiming your voice, then this book is for you.
That's great. That's great. So have you always wanted to write? Is this your first book? Are you planning on writing more?
This is my very first book. This is my debut work. I have been writing my entire life. I've written poems. I was published in high school. I did win, a contest in high school as well, but I've never written a book. So I don't know that this is going to be my first and only. But right now, I'm really just taking advantage of this opportunity that I have before me to really use this platform to help others that have been in my position because I know what I felt like when I felt like no one would believe me. Because, my husband was so likable and charismatic, and, people just couldn't believe some of the things that I was saying that he was doing. So I think there legitimately is a part two here because not everything is in that book. I'm just not sure that I am going to write it, but there is a part two that's in me.
So, at what moment do you feel forced you to maybe grow or come out as an author? It took me about a year just to even be like, oh yeah, I'm an author.
Well, I think I am excited and I've embraced the fact that I'm an author now because, and the reason being is it took me a long time to get here. There was a time where this was a conversation over a year ago. And at that time, I just wasn't brave. I didn't have the courage to do this because it's so personal. There are things in there that I probably wouldn't, I would have gone to my grave carrying had it not been the push from of my life coach, honestly. So I think for me, it was unlearning shame. This is truly what happened to me and my daughter because it affected her as well. In order for me to move on and grow and be able to live authentically, I have to be able to tell my story and stand in that. And I'm willing to do that now. The book taught me that I am stronger than I thought I ever could have been. I am braver than I thought that I ever could have been. But I also am an example. I want to be the blueprint for my daughter. Like there were some things that stuck with me throughout this process. Before I even got divorced, some things that she probably won't even remember that she used to say. Things like, Mom, you're always smiling, but your eyes look sad. Those kind of things really kind of affect you as a mother. I never wanted to be a bad example to my daughter. So I know that I go to work every day and I work hard and, I try to be a structured person and set an example for her in that way. But at this point, I want to show her what actual love looks like, right? What you should be accepting and what's not okay. And so, those things are really kind of an important key piece and key element into kind of what got me here.
Okay. And so, what's one thing you are hoping that the readers would understand from the book or get from reading the book?
No matter what the outside world thinks, you know your struggle. You are the only one that truly knows what you're going through. And just know that even if the outcome or your future looks bleak to you, or you don't know what your next step is going to be, you can, with the proper help, the proper planning, the proper, I'm going to say network or support system, you can find your way out. And this book definitely, I think, once a person reads the book, I think they can find ways that I use to navigate some of the obstacles that they will obviously face. And one of those things is not knowing when enough is enough. Like knowing that you deserve better, no matter what someone tells you about your reality, you know what your reality is. You trust your gut. You know when your heart is broken, even though that person's saying everything is perfect and everything is okay. I don't know why we're in counseling. You know that something is wrong. Trust yourself. That's the most important thing is trusting yourself and deal with that. Make your moves based on how you feel and not the direction that someone else is trying to provide for you.
Yes, I agree with that. That sounds good. So, your book, was it just published this year or has it already been published and now you're talking about it?
My book is newly published. So it was published on Amazon. I believe the date was January the 16th of this year. But it was going to be published on various different platforms beginning on Valentine's Day.
Great. Okay. Congratulations on that. That's
Thank you so
exciting.
much, Danny. I
That's
appreciate it.
exciting. So, where can listeners connect with you and support your work?
So they can connect with me on trishlacy.com. And that's TRISHLACY.com. They can connect to me on my Substack. They can connect with me on TikTok as well at I am unerased on TikTok as well. And that's how they can connect with me. And the book, of course, is on Amazon, Erased in My Home.
Okay, so let me give you one more question here. So, if this book reached the exact reader it was meant for at the exact moment, what do you hope it gives them or changes for them?
It gives them courage, is what I hope. I hope that by reading my testimony, that they will be able to see. One of the things I think is important for me to kind of note here too is if those individuals who reach my book reaches and they read it, if they are a parent, and this is so important to me, recognize and realize what your situation is doing to your children. It's not just affecting you. It's affecting them, whether you like it or not, positively or negatively, it's affecting your children. So evaluate what you feel the life they deserve is going to look like, what lessons you want them to learn. Think about that as well. But I also feel like I want them to evaluate themselves and say, hey, I can walk away from this a stronger person. It might be hard in the beginning. I'm not going to confuse people and say this is going to be a cakewalk. It's absolutely not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be harder before it gets better. But if the book reaches the person that I want them to reach, and they take something away from that and they feel that they have the courage that they need and they can come up with a plan to successfully leave that situation. Again, it will be worth every single tear I've cried. The book will have done what it was intended to do.
Yes, and I can relate to that because I was in a similar situation. We weren't married, but it was a pretty long relationship. I have a son, so I definitely had to think, I had to start thinking about my son, and he's growing up to be a young man, and
Yep.
I, I don't want him to treat women that way. He shouldn't see
Yep.
his mom be treated that way. So you are right on point with it, and I had to really consider, like you said, his feelings. Once I moved out of that situation, my son he's a totally different. It was like night and day. Like he's literally more outspoken. I didn't realize until we got out of it that it
Mm.
was, it was really taking a toll on him internally. So I
Yes.
appreciate you for sharing that.
No, and I commend you for acknowledging that within your son. I mean, a lot of people don't. So I'm thankful that you did that to provide him a chance to be an advocate for himself and to really blossom into the man he was supposed to be.
Yes. So I really enjoyed our time tonight, Trish. So you heard it here, listeners. Trish Lacey, her book is The Erased in My Home, and it is available again. Just tell the listeners one more time where they can find you.
Sure, the book is available now on Amazon. It will be available on various different platforms, including Barnes& and Noble and Audible on February 14th on Valentine's Day. They can find more information about me on trishlacey.com. They can find me on Substack, and they can also find me on TikTok at I Am Unerased.
Great. So, listeners, I need you to like, follow, comment, and share this podcast with others. And let's get Trish out here on her second book.
Thank you, Danny, for the encouragement. Let's get through this first one, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You have a great night. I appreciate you.
You too. Thank you so much.